Well, hello, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I am going to do your December the 8th Spiritual Principle Day in a Meditation. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our H.O.O.D Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, looks good. Our meditation for today is autonomy. That's our spiritual principle. Autonomy for ourselves and for others. Allowing our partners and ourselves to experience personal autonomy means we can grow and change at our own pace. That comes from the Living Clean book, Chapter 5, Romantic Relationships. Being a member of NA gives us plenty of chances to learn about relationships. For most of us, that starts with a sponsor and a home group, both of which offer lessons about autonomy. Every sponsor in NA, after all, eventually gets the opportunity to tell a sponsee, well, you're going to do what you're going to do. So whether that comes from a place of loving acceptance or frustrated sarcasm or a mix of both, our sponsors affirm that we are responsible for our own recovery and our consequences. When we're ready, we'll change. And as we often say, that might mean when we've had enough pain, we'll change. The same is true in our groups. We offer one another experience, strength, and hope. The choice of whether to accept what is offered belongs to each of us as individuals. Honestly, I was getting really tired of a home group member who kept sharing about the same thing all the time. A member shared, I got tired of being annoyed, so I just let it go and gave them space. Months later, they had a breakthrough and began to change. Today, we're very close. I was so glad I didn't have to wait for their breakthrough in order to feel better myself. The ability to keep our own pace and allow others to keep theirs is valuable in all of our relationships, including romantic ones. Whether or not our spouses or significant others are in recovery, a sign of an honest relationship is not being in 100% agreement on everything. It makes sense to experience discomfort in our relationships when we have differences of opinion, differing values, or different levels of willingness to practice principles. Practicing autonomy means knowing what we need to hold on to and what we need to let go of. If the answer to that isn't obvious, we can look to our group and our sponsor for guidance. I will practice autonomy by taking responsibility for my own life in recovery and allowing others the space to do the same. Wow. That is intense meditation. It has many components to it that I could talk about, but this is what I'm going to talk about. Okay. So put your seatbelt on and let's get into this real quick. Autonomy for others and for ourselves and for others. So autonomy, the spiritual principle of that is standing as one or alone. Okay. So when I think about autonomy, I think about my decisions belong to me. And as long as I'm not hurting other people, I don't need to worry about trying to people please. Now, this is just my own personal perception of what autonomy is. Each group is autonomous, but also each recovering individual is autonomous, right? We're not talking about anonymity, although anonymity is somewhat related, right? We're talking about this prefix, if you will, with the singular. That's the most simple way I can make it. It's singular. So autonomy is singular. And so your autonomy, my autonomy, theirs. Okay. So what happens though is because we have these character defects mostly rooted in pride, fear, right? Anger. We tend to want to manipulate and control things. And but we know in a meeting, in a group atmosphere, in a cohort, we know that we don't have authority or control over anyone but ourselves. But we endure or we have tolerance when it comes to other people, even if we disagree with what they are saying. But what can happen sometimes, and this happened at a meeting I was at one time, it was a very small meeting, and the individual took it upon themselves to let another member know, you know, I and others are having a problem with you sharing like this all the time. You might want to change something. And I started to just sit there. But because it was cross sharing and because it was so controlling and out of pocket, I had no choice as the chairperson to stop the share. Right. And so sometimes what happens is that we take other people's recovery on as though it's ours or as though we could change them. And when we get frustrated or intolerant, we think that we can speak to that in a manner that is not loving at all, right? Or we get up and leave the meeting. And this person in this particular meditation was like, I got so tired of them sharing like that all the time. Same problem, same issue. Every time they share, you knew what was coming out of their mouth because they weren't willing to change anything. They weren't that uncomfortable. They just wanted to come and, make us all listen to them talking about the same problem all the time. And they got fed up. But what they decided to do was stop trying to control that person's share, stop having an issue with their autonomy. If I get autonomy, then you get autonomy. See, that's the beautiful thing about this program is that the playing field is even, right? It's leveled out. So I get autonomy, but you don't? No, it doesn't work like that. So today, the spiritual principle that we're working on is autonomy for ourselves and for others, letting the recovery of other individuals go, even if they're a sponsee. Or you understand what I'm saying? I can give you suggestions as your sponsor, but you're going to change when you're going to change. And I tell you, quite frankly, if I'm tired of listening to you talk about the same thing over and over, I'll just say we're done talking about that. You have everything that you need to do something different, right? I have a choice, and I can make the choice that I'm done listening to that. Not that I'm done with you, not that I don't want a relationship with you, but that's a topic that we've covered so many times that when you are ready to change it, you'll change it. Let me know when you're ready to change it. When the pain is great enough, right? When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, we change. Okay. So my name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I am going to be talking to you tomorrow. Have a beautiful, beautiful day on purpose.